So there's a lot of stuff. I mean, a feast. Now, do you know any traditional Irish food?
I do. And you've got the ones that have been more Americanized, like the corned beef and cabbage. But if you go to the East Coast, a lot of the times they'll have an Irish stew, which is mainly beef in a broth with potatoes and barley, which are two of the main crops from Ireland.
Okay.
But I'd say a lot of them have been Americanized, but they can do anything with potato because that's their big crop there.
Right.
So pretty much every meal you have there, you have some sort of potato with it or in it.
Yeah.
Why is that? What was with potatoes?
It's just potatoes grew real well there.
Okay.
And that's why you had in history when you had the Irish potato famine. There was a disease that all the potatoes got, and they were essentially rotten, and that's why a bunch of Irish immigrants came to the United States.
Oh.
So here's kind of the kicker about that is, and especially when you take it back to today, and we're just letting anyone in just because. Back then, they were coming in, and it was right in the midst of the Civil War that a lot of them were coming in. And they were coming in through New York because, one, it made sense, and that's where the main harbor for immigrants was.
Right.
Majority of those people that came in, if it was a male of fighting age, and we're going back to Civil War times, so we're talking like 8 and you were a drummer boy all the way up into your 30s, you got taken off the boat with your family, and the males got directed into another line, and they signed in one book to become a citizen for them and their families to become citizens, and they signed in another book to join the Union Army.
Oh, wow.
So they were then taken and trained a little bit, and the majority of the Irish that had that happen were put on the front lines because they were a little bit crazy and they didn't have a lot of fear.
Oh.
And they were expendable. The United States thought they were expendable at that time.
Yep. So you had a lot of them on the front lines in the Civil War. And then after the Civil War, the Irish were probably some of the most discriminated against people in the country.
Yeah.
It was no surprise and nothing uncommon for a shop to have a sign in the window that said, "Help wanted, Irish need not apply."
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Really?
And, yep.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So then a lot of the Irish started moving west. One, because a lot of them came from farming backgrounds, and farther west you got, especially at that time, the more farmland you got into.
Yep.
But then they also got into working with the railroad because, again, they were kind of crazy and fearless. And
Yep.
they would be the ones that would take the pile of nitroglycerin or the jars of nitroglycerin into the cave to blow up to make a tunnel.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And people said that's fine because they're expendable.
Right.
So, you got to understand that St. Patrick's Day and the whole thing, it started with him being a slave. He was a slave in Rome.